Okay, welcome everybody. We're live with the Cascadia tournament, and we're going to be starting here in a few moments. I'm joined by RJ, also known as the board is set. So we're going to be having him do a lot of the color commentary today. But so I'm going to introduce you, but we're also going to get to know our competitors here real quick before we get started. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks for having me. We have Lady Amy. We have Evil Disc 420, real name Matt. We have Cascadia L and One Sword Mantis Way. And you can see the animals we got going there. We'll get started in 1 minute.
All
Looks like a
right.
good game.
Sounds good. We'll go fade over to the gameplay here. And we'll get started. We're going to mute ourselves in the Discord, but you guys feel free to talk about your game all as much as you want.
Good luck, everybody.
All
All right,
right.
looks like I'm kicking it off here.
So getting started, it looks like we have the few. Let me get this here on the stream 1 second so we can look at it. But we do have the grizzly bear B, which is any shape, three bears. Roosevelt or the elk is number C, which scores for any group of elk in any shape. Salmon D, which scores salmon per salmon and per animal adjacent to run of three. We also have red-tailed hawk B, which scores for each hawk that is not adjacent to any other hawk, but has to have a direct line of sight. And red fox B, which scores for each fox adjacent to any number of unique animals pairs, not including foxes. Okay, so Cascadial has made their first move. I wasn't looking at the screen as I read that, so it jumped past me pretty quick. Did you see what happened?
That's all right. It looks like Matt took an elk and Cascadia took a fox, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. We'll be able to see mostly one sword mantis's screen here, but as Amy and Evil Disc and Cascadial take their moves, their screen will pop up. Let me just do one thing real quick. One sword mantis was wondering if you could click that terrain tile on the very top of the right there so we can see who's ahead there. That's great. Thank you. All
Yeah, the
right.
animals they're playing today are all very strong, except for the herd of elk. I think that's the weakest in the game. It takes a lot of investment to get any good return on that one. The others are really solid, though. So this should be pretty high scoring.
We're not playing the super high scoring Hawk C, but Hawk B is still pretty powerful. I think it's a little easier to pull off, I found. What do you think of that?
Yeah, we're playing Fox B, which
Fox
is
B.
the most points you can get per any token in the game,
Yep.
even though we won't have many points from total those foxes, placing them
Yep.
positionally, you can really get a lot of points overall.
Hawk, and I meant Hawk B, yeah. Is Hawk C and Hawk B the comparatively seems like.
Yeah. Oxy is the overpowered one. I'm glad we're
Yeah.
not playing with it.
Yes, yeah. Most people don't like to see that one in the game.
All
All
right,
right.
Wade dropped a salmon here for a nature token and then placed prairies touching with forests to be connected in the future, which I like.
Excellent. I'm still trying to
Early
work. Go
on,
ahead and keep commenting. I'm still trying to get the cards up so people can see it who are joining late.
early on, you have two goals. Getting a nature token is great, and starting to build out your colors because you need to compete in a few to get the end game bonuses for first or second place. And on top of that, just having colors match colors is a sneaky way as a good baseline of points. You can expect, I'll come back to that in a second. Amy is plopping a salmon for her second turn. In a good game, you're aiming for 60s for animals and 30s plus for terrain. And it's good to compete in maybe threes for some first and second places there. So Amy placed a salmon and built out two colors at the same time, which is nice. Matt, for his first round, went with an elk on maybe on an yes on a nature token. So now he has that flexibility.
And I think we're good. Let's see how this works. Hey, we've got that on there. Looks like I'm cutting off the fox a little bit. Let me see if I can't fix that. There we go. Still pretty early as far as the terrain
Is everybody else
goes.
just seeing three in the habitat tracker?
That's Evil Disc talking there.
Uh, I can see all four. Which one are you
Oh, I
missing?
can only see all three. All right. Yeah, there's two blue players. That's what's confusing. Amy and Evil are both
Ah,
blue.
there.
That is a bummer.
That is very confusing.
That is a little bug of the in this game here. Unfortunately, we are only
Yeah.
seeing
If we
three.
exit, do you think it would change the color? Exit and re-enter?
Hmm.
Yeah, I've never
If they
seen that
can't
happen
fix it,
before.
they could just eyeball by scanning through the collections who has the best putt. It is unfortunate.
Yeah, that is too bad. We can't see who is in. Differentiate between the two blues. Little
All right.
bug of the app. We'll have to report that to them. So hopefully next time that will be fixed. We find these every once in a while. These little bugs. Evil Death just played yellow green.
Mhm. Connecting his elk and next to the fox, which is going to go in the middle there. You want to place pretty much any fox central and maximize that score at least once, and then future foxes can be powerful. This is the best fox to keep playing throughout the game. Other games, you run out of worthwhile places for the fox, but even if you place a token next to just any pair anywhere, you keep scoring 3 points. So I expect we'll see regular foxes, maybe maxed out more than once.
It is back to one sword mantis
Did
now.
either of you try exiting?
I did, and it didn't change anything.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we're
I
just
did
going to
too.
be stuck with it. So, very unusual that it made two blue players. So
It
the
looks like it's tracking Evil um, as blue for habitat.
I think that may shift once I take a turn though, because it was showing mine before. So we'll have to see.
yeah, she should have a 2 on green on the blue. So I'm not sure why it are you seeing that too, RJ? That Amy should has two forest on there.
He does have two forests, so
Yeah,
she's not being represented.
yeah. So that is unfortunate. Hopefully, the bug corrects itself through this game at the end of the game for the end game scoring.
Way looks like he's going with the mismatched colors, squeezing himself in a little bit, and I believe he placed a hawk.
Yeah, Way being a one sword mantis.
That's right. I don't see a fox form in the middle. This fox is especially powerful. What you really want is just a free bonus for placing animals around it, and then you just organically build out from the middle. If you don't leave room for the fox in the middle, you're leaving points on the table. As even one token in this game, the fox is worth 7 if you can have 3 pairs, which is very easy. And then you can start working on a second or a third fox.
It looks like Amy on her board that's showing doesn't have a place to put those foxes starting out either. But there are plenty of tiles available that will have those foxes, so they could build out
Mhm.
that scoring ability.
Yeah, each starting set of 3 hexes has a place for any animal, so you do make a choice what's going to be living where. Foxes fit naturally in the middle, so I almost always end up putting a fox in one of the represented 3 there.
Evil is going with the elk scoring, as you mentioned before. You don't care for the elk on this one. It seems to be flexible though, because it can be any shape. But you believe that that it's still not worth it, despite the ease to score it.
I think in game design, the more flexible an animal is, the harder it is to get points from it, and that's the trade-off. For
Yes.
instance, the point value thrown around that you're trying to reach per tile is 3. You want to get worth out of each token by the end of the game. You want some, maybe 1 or 2 worth quite a bit more than 3 per token. And if you can get the weakest ones up to 3, that's okay. In this case, you would need 6 elk at 3 apiece.
Okay.
And that's just a lot of work.
And even if you get the maximum, which is your 8 elk, it's still only 3.5 points.
Yeah. And if
Others
you consider
animals score
what,
better.
right, if you consider what you would get for other animals instead of 8 elk, it's probably worth more. Evil Disc has a lovely set here. You can see his fox waiting in the middle. He's chosen elk up top, and he's planning out 2 more pairs along the side for
If
his
you look at the
7 point
habitat
box.
tracker now, it's showing mine, so it may continue to change.
Right.
Yeah, it's just gonna flop back and forth. That's a weird little glitch of many
I hope it
glitches
doesn't
in this
more.
app.
Direwolf is usually really good about getting things fixed when you report things to them. Some of my favorite apps are by Direwolf. Unfortunately, this app doesn't get the same use as the Dune Imperium and Root apps that we've played, so I think some of these bugs are often going unreported. So if we do our due diligence and get them reported, hopefully they'll get them fixed for future tournaments. We do plan on having one of these every couple months at least. Now, Gaming Fight Club, in case you aren't a member of it, you can join by just emailing me at boardgametotears@gmail.com, and we can get you in. And it's to play in the tournaments. It's $5 a month, and you can win a prize if you win the overall tournament. So, what do you think about Cascadial's setup here? He does have a fox in the
So this
middle.
is just a display glitch, right? I hope the score will be calculated correctly.
Yeah, he's got a fox. He's committed to 2
Given
bears
that it's
next to the
flipping
fox.
back and forth,
He
I
could
would
have
imagine
elk
so.
on the other side and then fit
That's
in
unfortunate. We
salmon on the
basically just
third,
have
which would be
to
fine. Matt, who
manually
we
count
missed, he took a
to
fox
be
for a nature
sure.
token in the middle and then placed a room for a hawk away from the fox, which makes sense for his
Yeah,
setup
that's
because
true. We
if he
can
put
always
it next to the
reconstruct the
fox,
score
he would be committing
ourselves.
to
Yeah,
losing the 3
maybe.
pairs, given his actual setup there. Now we're back to Way. The
Cascadia
first
has exactly 20 turns, so we're on turn 3 right now for Way. One was Ward Mantis. What do you think the play is right here?
The first thing I look at is the double color to see if there's a place to put it. It's not always the best play, but knowing that you can build out terrain with an okay animal placement is fine. Green and yellow could at least be side by side. He's putting the salmon next to there. That's okay. What else do we have? White and lime together. Yeah, there's just no place for a fox, and that's going to really hurt him down the line. He did give himself an option for a fox over here, so he could have bears on the top left, salmon top right, and then elk maybe on the bottom there. It's a shame that his prairies are separated and they're realistically never going to touch. So
I was
if you
thinking
build
the
in an
same thing. It almost seems like there should have been a way to do that, but I think he had that light green yellow tile that he really wanted to place early on and didn't have the option to really connect it where on the starting tile.
Yeah, when you have a mismatched color and you commit by kind of suffocating yourself, his first yellow and lime tile there, he really pushed it close to everything else. So now he's left with some prairie that just won't score. If you have to put a double color and you can only score one of them, it's best to put it maybe on an edge with both of the same color free to touch other things. So in this case, his first yellow lime, he could have put the lime next to the hawk, left lime hanging off on the mountainside, and then on the prairie side. It's when you have to do that, it's best to grow when you can. But
Amy
dividing your
places a
colors is really
yellow
going to hurt.
with a dark green laid off. I didn't catch the animal she placed.
Hmm.
Evil Disc, I think, is connecting his habitats nicely. I found that you don't want to try to make every single habitat perfect. You want to at least focus on two, maybe even three to get first or second place on them. A lot of times, I think one of my downfalls is I try to make all the habitats perfect and don't focus enough on the animals, which will score you more points than the habitats alone. But you can't neglect those habitats.
Early on, you can build out everything, and then as you see where people are over the course of the game, you can focus a little more here or there. But yeah, focusing on three to be competitive is a lot is going to really help you out. I played Evil Disc 420 recently, and although I had more terrain points, he scored first in three different types for 9 points, and I only scored second in one type. So I was much too muddled and even to get the bonuses I needed, and he just ran away with it.
And
All right, he's
just to
throwing a
remind,
hawk.
yep, you played a
Go ahead.
hawk. Okay, good.
Matt, he played a hawk on his keystone tile and built out options for a bear, keeping his colors nice.
Cascadia has an option to pull a hawk here to hit one of those two spots.
The far left pairing would give him building out forest and mountain at the same time. But it would come with a salmon, and he would have to put it farther away than he wants from the fox. Of course, he could have more foxes later, which would be fine. Well, the most interesting card today is the Salmon D, where you need at least three for it to qualify. And then once it's completed, you score 1 point for each of the salmon and all of it around. So you want foxes central anyway, but in this one you want salmon central too, which can be very tricky to pull off, but they are rewarding when you're able to do it. All right, back to Wei.
As a reminder of scoring, we have you get, for habitat, you get 3 points if you're first place, 1 point if you're second place, and if there is a tie, both players get the point total below them. And then you get 1 point per habitat of your largest color of that color. So it can ramp up pretty good. All right, he went with a one sword mantis, went with a salmon on his light green and yellow.
Yeah, he's now able to build out, potentially maxing out a fox up top and down below. In this game, three salmon is the most you really want. If you invest in more, it's a huge diminishing returns. There's a lot of tiles you can fit around three salmon, but when you add that fourth one on its own, it's just worth 1 point. And it's hard to find the number of tiles that would also surround that at the same time.
Ah, he changed his mind. It's nice to be able to see him in real time. He pulled.
Yeah, he's gonna want. He intended to put his tile a little
Yes,
lower
it got
there.
it in the wrong place there. Yep. And
His other
Yeah.
play was the same idea as this, but this builds out two colors at the same time, which is, I think, the right idea.
yes. He's trying to
But now
think
he's
of
going
his
through what
orientation
all
there.
Cascadia players do, deciding how to twist it to make it make the most sense. And it ends up looking a little jagged sometimes, but in this case, if he were to perfectly line up yellow and blue, then you could only build out the yellow or prairie in one direction. In this case, he has a couple spots able to expand, and he leaves some for river as well, which is fine.
Yep, this is the way I would orient that tile also. Now we're back to Amy. I do like taking those single fox tiles to build up my pine cones. Is that what they're called? Pine cones? Or they look like little cones, which give you a point, but also give you some flexibility if you're really stuck, especially in late game with you're trying to get a high scoring animal and you just need one or two different things. Then you can pull an animal that doesn't match your tile by spending that 1 point. And sometimes I like to hoard those points, but the best players I see spend them, and the scoring ramps up a lot better when you get the animal you want.
Yeah, tokens are the kinds of thing you want to have, and then when you spend them, you want maximum value. So the weakest way by far, I think, is wiping the whole board in the beginning or middle game because you just don't know what you're going to get. You might see something nice, or you might have completely wasted a point. If you take one option with a diagonal choice, you may get something to get you out of a bind. You can also take it to get a token back. You can pair a salmon with a salmon tile and collect a point. But in the end, it is most useful when you are looking for one exact animal and you just need it, or you're going to lose out on 10 points. So it can be much more worthwhile to spend them at the right time.
Yes, spending that pine cone, you can wipe all the animals off and draw new ones. And that's a desperation move. If you do not see anything, that's going to help you win at an endgame point.
And we'll inevitably see it as the players work out what their board state is. They may feel that they need an exact pairing, and so they're just going to spend stuff, or else they lose anyway.
We had a light green mountain played with Amy. I did not see the animal she grabbed. You gotta really watch it. It goes fast with these other players.
Um, Matt's got a great looking board here. All of his colors make sense so far. He's planned on maxing out his top fox. He's got room to build all his terrain.
Oh, happy birthday.
There you go. He did build that top fox there. Got set himself up for a pine cone if he builds there.
Wait, my birthday.
This is what you can do with Fox B. You can have a pair of animals benefit the first fox, and then that leaves a gap on the other side of them for another fox, which you can start to build more pairs. So
Surely
it's
somebody's
easy
going to like that
to build
and
around.
call it their birthday then.
I'll probably still take it. Nobody's in a cake.
Yeah, the placement of Cascadial's bottom left tile is leaving something to be desired. His wetland, if he had tilted it, you could keep build out wetland and forest at the same time, but he left a gap. So if he connects it, it's mountain and forest, and he already has forest on the top.
He did
So
connect
that's
forest and put
self-inflicted.
a bear on it, so he is going for the bear scoring, which is a hard set number of 3 bears, and they cannot have any bears next to each other. So it looks like he's building up to that because he placed the bear that was right on that and got himself a pine cone. So he's up to 2. So even though you can't double score on a single color tile, you technically do because you get that pine cone, which offers some flexibility in the future. I do like those single colors. It seems to help connect your map too in the future. And you don't get the pine cone unless you place the animal that matches that terrain. So that's something to think about. If you use that, you want to make sure you're going to place an animal there to get that 2 points for that tile.
Amy's habitats are a bit suffocated here too. You can see the prairie is almost completely shut off. She can't connect the prairie to the wetland anymore. She has 2 mountains which could connect, but they would cut off the river. So when you have to build, you want to leave room for growth. If you have to squeeze something in, try to have it be both the right colors, or
Yeah,
at least
that
one exact color.
prairie, the yellow and dark green prairie and forest probably should have been tilted one, so she could have had some more flexibility on that building. Since forest, she's not going to be building her forest on the bottom there of her map. It's she has 2 forest tiles on the top already. Or is that a starting tile? Am I wrong with that?
I can't tell in this version what she started with.
It
The
looks.
colors, the color looks to be the top left, those three, because it's going to have all 5 colors in the
Yep,
triomino.
that's what I'm seeing too. All right, Cascadia placed a marsh and water on the bottom. Now he's going to places.
He's about to
No,
reposition.
yeah, yep. I don't think he likes that. All right, looking for a where to put his fox there, but
Yeah, so in a case where no double color makes sense kind of anywhere on the board, you have the option of a keystone in the place where you will at least touch the color, and the extra point is made up by putting an animal there.
the
But if you
keystone being
prefer
the
something
single
else.
color. Yep.
Mhm. And the other option is you just put half of a double color touching where it belongs, and then you basically forfeit the other half of that point. Sometimes you don't have an option. Some of the luck swings in the game are, do you just get the colors you need at the right time?
Yeah, sometimes I try to shoehorn the correct color in just to make it a maybe connection that is unlikely and ends up hurting me in the long run. You just sometimes got to just pick what's you do some little mental math to see what's best in the long run. So he did take and place a hawk. It looked on the tile he just took.
Right.
So they're in
Yeah, he
line of sight
matched.
now.
Yep, matched forests and got the hawks. The hawks are nice. If you only have 3 hawks that are connected, and they can just be an edge is facing the edge of any other hawk. So they're actually very flexible, and you only need 3 of them to have an average of 3 points per token. So they are a nice, easy investment.
Now the hawks I have to be so he has to have the hawks in pairs. Now I don't know if I have this right. So right now he's not scoring the hawks until he gets a third hawk on. Am I correct about that?
Do you mean way, one-sword
Way,
mantis?
yes.
For this card, anytime you have 2 hawks and their edges face each other, they're legal.
They are legal. Okay.
And then any future hawk at some point just has to have its edge facing any other hawk. They don't all have to connect in a little jumble, but they need to be facing some hawk if possible.
And he
So these
needs
two
to
are
have
legal.
two of those to start scoring though. Two connections.
You do need 2 to score,
Yeah.
and
So
which he
right
has.
now it's you need to have another one to in line of sight in order to do that.
Mhm.
And you can't go through another hawk either.
That's right. Back to Matt, who has had a great opening, I think. The colors match. He's building out
I
2 foxes
Yeah,
in
I
good
think he should probably go
combinations.
for that water and light green tile in the bottom left corner and grab that fox. And he doesn't. He actually goes for the mountain.
He's deciding on the elk,
Okay.
telegraphing he's going to connect it to his other elk, which could be a bit awkward if he's going to go on the short side next to his new fox. He loses out on the potential for a maxed out 7 points. If he builds
Fox
out
and Hawks.
around whatever else he puts there, he's investing a whole lot. So I think you were right. He should have maybe gone with the river wetland for a double color. I didn't see what animal would go on there.
Yeah, I didn't catch the animal. Goes by quick.
All right. Cascadial here has invested in 2 distinct groups of bears, and in this card, you need 3 for one of them. So they've committed to 6 early on in the game, which is probably unwise. Sometimes you can more or less get to 6 if you have a quick start, but everybody's going to be wanting 3, so it may be a long time, if never, that you get what you want here. It's best to finish one, and then if you have enough time to start working on a new family, that's okay.
So the salmon right now will score him 4 points because there's one different animal next to it. Am I correct of how that works?
You're looking at
Cascade or
ways.
ways, yeah.
The ways board technically now is 1 point for each of the salmon, and then anything touching it. So it is 4 points.
Yep. And each unique animal. So if you put a pair there, that is
Any animal, anything's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's one
Ooh,
of the most
first nature
interesting
token of the
cards.
of the game.
That's
It's
better than I
interesting.
thought it was.
It's a high level of difficulty, and it's easy to not get very many points from it. But if you play it central and surrounded, it's worth a surprising amount of points.
Especially if you have another animal that will score off it also, like a fox, or as you said. Because our fox needs those animals paired. Not necessarily adjacent, but it needs at least 2 in order to get scored.
That's right.
Now, one sword mantis rather, probably is looking at me perhaps. Well, the mountain tile's tough because that's a hawk, and he's not going to score if he puts it next to another hawk. So
That's right.
he's probably not going to be considering that one coming up here.
The only double color match could be prairie and river on the edge where they could meet later.
I do like that placement too, and he could immediately place a hawk line of sight if he placed it on the very top there. And
That's what he's
he
looking
did
at.
that. Yeah.
The bummer is going to be the potential 2 tiles out there with foxes would be nice, ideally, to put 3 pairs around each of those. But with a hawk here now, there's no way you can just get a second hawk if that's a fox. So you kind of have to audible into making it a bear, which maybe was the plan. Um, in a perfect world, they would both be foxes, and you would put that somewhere else. But you have to play the tiles you get, so that seems okay.
Now, PJ, who is I think he won the Cascadia tournament. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
The inaugural one.
Yeah, so that was 2 years ago, and then he found that certain tiles actually have certain animals. So he got to the point where he could plan what tiles are left, and what animals will most likely appear on the tiles. I don't have that chart in front of me, but I should have grabbed that. It would be interesting to kind of memorize that. The highest level of Cascadia players at the World Series of Board Gaming will want to do that. So that's a channel that you want to search out, is PJ's channel, to see if to learn his little strategy that he shares on his YouTube channel. I'll see if I can get a link on the description later.
It is a great starting point, and I did look into those numbers, so I can give you quite a bit. Each animal has 3 different keystone tiles, and those are the types where you'll find the animal more often on those tiles than the other 2. So, for instance, a bear appears more often on forest, river, and mountain tiles, and that's where they have keystones. The other 2 are wetland and prairie. They won't appear as often. For the favored 3 types for each animal, they appear 12 to 16 times. For the non-favored pair of types, they appear 7 to 9 times. And on the tiles that are
Lady
made
Amy,
up...
just to interrupt you for a second, made a placement that I wasn't quite sure. It didn't seem like there was a real match for a river tile there. So I'm not sure what that was. We'll have to take a look back on that board there. Go ahead, you continue.
So they're more favored on the keystones. On the 2 that don't have keystones, they're less favored. To interrupt again, Evil Disc is playing a hawk.
And he put a fox on his very top there, so that was an excellent move.
Matching colors again, looking very strong. Yeah, PJ pointed out that on the tiles that have the exact 2 non-favored, so for a bear that's wetland and prairie, on a half wetland, half prairie tile, you don't find bears at all. So you're favored on keystone, the 3 types, you are not favored on 2 types, and when those 2 types meet, you won't find anything, which is important to know for ballparking placements.
We have a river placement, and it didn't catch the animal. Goes by too fast. Now we can see highlighted in white what the last placement that Amy did. He's checking that out right now. See, as you can see, she put a river, and it didn't match any terrain at all. So I am wondering why she did that. Do you see a
I'm
strategy there?
I'm presuming that's a mistake.
Okay.
I can't think of a reason for that.
Yep. She would have probably wanted to spin that around if even if she couldn't use that river there, so that the wetland was touching it. So that must be a mistake. She did place that deer next to there. One sword mantis did connect. He still has those yellows split if he's going that way. So I'm not sure which one he's going to grow bigger because they're both about the same size right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
any more investment on any side is just you're
yeah.
digging a deeper hole.
I would be putting, because since his top one has the potent has four, it's a disconnected. It has three right now. They're tying. I would almost do that connection up at the top there, since
Yeah, he needs
that
to
is
build on what he's placed.
yeah, and he's thinking about doing that now. We can see, and does get the start of his bear. Bears need three, otherwise they don't score unless they have exactly three. So you're committed once you do that those adjacent tiles are going to be bears.
I'd say for any animal, expecting 3 or 4 over the course of the game is a very safe bet. If you're banking on 6, like we saw with Cascadia, they're now invested to 6. That can be a lot more tricky.
Mm-hmm. Lady Amy,
Okay.
back to her.
Mhm.
She is probably sometime. I have placed a tile before in Cascadia. This happened to me once. I've played in this tournament too. I did not. You got fifth place, but and a tiebreaker too. You were basically tied for. It was a large tie for fourth,
I think
but
6 of us tied for 3rd place.
yeah, third place. That's right. So you barely missed out. Um, but I was down there. But I done this once where I placed a tile and it came back to me, and I'm like, why did I place that tile that doesn't match anything? And then I remembered. I swore it went one way. The display must have glitched because I couldn't imagine myself doing something like that. So that probably could have happened to her.
It's happened to me in all my solo games practice. Every now and then you're not careful enough and you plop a color down and then you're screwed when it comes back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So Amy's building out salmon in the middle, which is beautifully surrounded. She's planning on the fox having hawks on either side, and the salmon are at the top already. She could go, she's already gone elk in the top left, or top left. I don't think she's going to connect all the way around for the bottom. That could be where the bears are going to go, which would make the top right its own fox,
She
which would
could do a
be
free refresh because right now there are three animals. If you have three or more animals that are the same, you can replace those for free, take them aside, and draw three new ones out of the bag as many times as you want until you have
just
less than three.
just the first one. Even if 3 show up after that, you are stuck with it.
Ah,
You would have to pay to wipe it.
I stand corrected there. Thank you. There's but I'm almost thinking she wants to play a hawk because she'll have two line of sights, which would get her in scoring potential. So she probably doesn't want to board wipe. She's probably thinking about but she has some options then. She could play the forest on the top there, setting up a fox position, and connecting her forest together. And she could possibly jump up to contend for a even second place on there, having 4 forests because the leader has 5 forests currently. That's the one I think I would go for. Rivers are moot, so that the yellow blue tile might not be the best, even though it does have a hawk potential on it. So she did go with a dark green and light green. I didn't see the animal she picked, but
She could have
I'd like
placed a
to
hawk.
know.
I didn't see if she put the fox or not, but
Yep, she did place a hawk. Good because there is a hawk missing now.
And the other tile she placed, we questioned if it was a mistake. She completely closed off the water that was there, so I think it must have been a misclick. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. Checking back in with Matt. Matt seems to focus on largely what I do, which is making the colors match colors early on, which will yield great benefits in the end game.
I do look like what I'm seeing with his scoring here. He's got good. Let's see. I'm looking at the chart on the left. Remember, we have a blue issue. That 6 blue is actually Amy. She has the most swamp connected. He only has 2 that are separated, easily connected, but he's not. He might be a contender for second place on those. But the tiles aren't really matching up for what he wants to do, I would say. He's ignoring forest. He only has 1 forest there. There is a forest keystone which could get him into more scoring position with that. And it put a fox. He'd have to play a fox next to that, but foxes do not count as pairs next to other foxes, so it would be a tile that he could not use at that point, be connected to his forest.
If I were him, I would eye the elk on the keystone, which he's invested already. On the left side, you set up a couple wetlands. You're going to need to connect them right there, or they'll never connect, basically. And if the other color, a part of that tile doesn't match, that's fine. Sometimes you end up with, it's worth more to connect the wetlands than worry about a keystone at some point.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
And the tile itself would be a salmon in the future. He wants that fox, since it's touching 1 salmon, to touch 2. And that tile does have a wetland salmon. So I would really jump on it if I were him. Each color pair in the game, for instance, Prairie River, there are only 6 of each. There are 6 half forest, half mountain. There are 6 half wetland, half prairie. So if you see one with an animal that works, you can really jump there.
Oh, that's not where I
I
expected
cannot
him to place it.
imagine. I cannot imagine he meant to do that.
That was.
If he did, I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, he thought maybe he was contending for the mountain, and we see he did. I can't see his board now, but is that did put him in first place for the mountain? So maybe that's what he was thinking.
Yeah, he had a better option with the animal and building out his left color. It was everything he needed. We'll see how that plays out going forward, what his plans are.
Okay. He's taking a look at what Amy needs. That's a good Cascadia player will try to play keep away too. If there's 2 equal options, you might as well take the one that's worse for the guy next in line.
It's also wise to watch the person in front of you, especially if they're specializing in something, you need to probably do something else because you can't expect to get a lot of bears if they're chasing a lot of bears.
Looks like he was hovering over that overpopulation button, so he's thinking about getting rid of those hawks. He doesn't really have a place for a hawk right now unless he places the mountain field or the field river tile.
Mm-hmm. If he's going to take the fox, you might as well wipe the hawks to see what comes out. But he chooses to place that. He's thinking of a hawk up there to continue the prairie, give himself another connected hawk, connect
Is that
mountain
what's it? Oh, so he's gonna line of sight the one to the right there. Okay, but
Yeah,
he
as
will
long
not
as
be
any
able to
hawk,
line in sight the one below it, though.
as long as it's connected to any one, you're fine.
Okay. And you can double up your hawks with connections if you line them up correctly. So that's
In
something
this
to think
one,
about.
you could have a spider's web like we see in Hawksea. You could have a wheel, that would be fine, but you needed at least connected to one and not touching any. All right, back to Amy.
Yep, she did place that bear salmon, the green and a swamp. Was it swamp or wetlands? Wetlands. The
Those are
wetland forest.
wetlands.
And she did get her hawk, so it lined up too. So she currently has 3 lined up, which gives her 9 points for those hawks at the moment.
Yeah, you can see on her board she has isolated mountain in the middle, isolated water in the middle, river in the middle, and she's just never going to grow those. So that's just stepping on your own toes.
She'll probably want to turn those middle into salmon. I think that's the only
Yeah,
choice. So
that's
she did wipe those 3 hawks for free, and she does have salmon available now. So she most likely, I almost guarantee that's what she's going to be taking here, or one of those 2 salmon. And she might be extending her lead in wetlands.
and her top right tile, which could be a fox or bear, is better as a fox since it would already be touching 2 salmon, and she could easily build with a hawk on the other side of it for just 2 pairs out of nowhere.
Yeah, the scoring is not showing up correctly for wetland at all. She currently has 2, 4, 5 in wetland, but right now it's showing that One Sword Mantis is ahead on the little chart there. She should be ahead on that habitat tracker. It appears that hers are missing. And I did say that, before that, she had. It appears, just looking at it, that she's not on the chart at all.
I would say
Lady
that.
Amy. Yeah. So if the app does not score it correctly, we'll just have to manually score it so that we get the correct end game total. So we'll have
That
to.
would be okay.
Yeah.
It does show you the statistics at the end. So worst case scenario, we could work out what everyone should have. Yeah, she could place a bear in the top right here, but it's not what she would really want to do. Salmon is
All right, look, she
probably, but she
went
is
with the
going to go
hawk.
with
She's
that.
going to extend that and did place her bear on the top right. I'm surprised she didn't go
Let's
salmon.
check back in with Matt here. He's building out the mountain, sacrificed the wetland on the inside, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that one
He,
place he could still jump up to third place on the wetland. It appears, interestingly enough, I think it shows it did swap when it took his turn, because it's showing Lady Amy as having the 6. See that? So when whoever's turn it's not, it shows the other person on the chart. It's kind of weird.
that's interesting. Uh, Evil Disc just put a wetland on the left side and put the hawk, the salmon that belonged there, which he could have planned for last time. The fact that he built out on the right, I think, is going to mean he can't max out that fox now. If he connects his elk, he misses the chance to have a pair of bears there, which he needs to get an extra 2 points for a 7 point fox instead of a 5. So I think he missed a bit of a chance.
Looking at Cascadiel's board here, I think that I would go for the elk, so you can get the pair of elk around that center fox, and rather than wiping it out. And his best bet might be pulling probably the field river there, and hoping it connects. And that's what he does. He connects to his river and does put the elk there next to his fox, so be able to get a double score there.
Yeah, he also, like Evil Disc, he committed so that if he's connecting those 2 elk, he's going to miss out on maybe maxing out the fox, but I'll have to double check that. But his salmon were on the outside of the board, which makes it the most difficult to score well for them. Amy has hers nicely in the middle.
Yeah,
One Sword Mantis is building out around it.
other salmon charts do allow you just to throw that salmon wherever you want, but this salmon D needs it surrounded to really maximize it.
Easily the trickiest, but with only 3 salmon placed, it has the highest potential yield when you do it well.
I wonder if he's going to go for the yellow light green. Try to. Yeah, but that yellow doesn't can do anything for him, so it would only be the light green he'd be building. So maybe that wouldn't be the best one. So actually the yellow and river together might be the best. He doesn't really want to have a salmon at this point, though. He wants that bear. So at this point, I almost would build his river, hopefully connect it to the yellow with that yellow river, and then spend a pine cone to get a bear. He does take the
It would be
bear.
when you spend your last nature token, it can be dangerous because then you get one bad draw and you have nothing to do. You could score 0 points for an animal
That is a
potentially. So
good
holding
point.
on to one, as soon as you get one, hold on to at least one until you can get one back.
Now I think he should connect to his wetlands there, not his field, because his top field is going to score. That bottom field will not. He's not going to score with that connection. That one's
We keep seeing
gone.
him.
Yeah,
He keeps having his resources here,
but
cutting him
he
in
might
half.
be putting it there so he could line up the hawk.
These hawks, I know you feel like, oh, how am I going to connect this? If you don't connect them early, you can always put sometimes with a single one later to make it okay. So there's usually no rush. They're now thinking about the fox potentially, but you can't have two hawks around this fox. The best you could do would be the other bear goes next to it and then elk on the bottom since you haven't started any elk yet, but he's giving up that chance.
Yep, he's just going for the hawk line, the hawk scoring there.
And the prairie just
Doesn't
doesn't
do
help at
anything.
all.
He'll probably just hope to connect that wetlands in a later turn if it works out. I do like that you can hover over the bag and see what's left. I did not realize that when I played myself.
I haven't played that way yet. All right, back to Amy.
As far as her habitats, I do think she's in a rough position. She does have I think she's guaranteed to get the wetlands first place, those extra 3 points. But I think it's going to be tougher to score in any of the other any of the other habitats for first place. Of course, she'll get a single point for each one in the largest. But every time you have an isolated piece of land, I always think that's a point that I could have had that's not going to be scoring.
Right. And sometimes you can't avoid it, but you just got to do your best with what shows up. And when the chances for building out two colors at the same time, it's just its own reward. Over time, you'll see sometimes five huge blocks of colors, and then you can start to specialize where you want to really lean for those bonus points. But early on, if you don't build out in connection, you lose so much.
At this point, I would be wanting to build my salmon there in through the center. And right now there is only 11 turns left. Now that turn indicator isn't always perfect, but you can count the number of tiles. You're going to end up with 23 tiles on the board at the end. So by doing some math, you can figure out how many other turns are left. But I believe there is 11 turns. That looks like that is correct. I would be going for that salmon down there if I were her. I'm not
You'll
sure.
need a salmon. The bummer would be that the prairie river with it wouldn't grow to.
It does her no good. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what color she should take. She could match mountain and ooh, even that. She has on her left side. She has mountain, which could connect to mountain, but she would completely snuff out the river, which is unfortunate.
The tile I would like to have is the prairie mountain, because that could possibly grow two different habitats. She is next to each other right there. But the bear doesn't do her. Well, I guess she does need a bear, but it would cut off her salmon scoring potential.
She's growing on her mountain there with the hopes of connecting prairie in
Okay.
the future.
All right. She did go with that tile. And she did spend a token to take did she take the salmon? I didn't see. Okay, so he placed the river and placed the bear right next to it. So I think that was a good placement by Evil Disc there. Evil Disc 420.
They're looking strong.
Did,
The only maybe misplay was on the right, committing to building their mountain at the cost of the other half of the color on the tile and losing 2 points from the fox for not completely maxing it out. But they're in a good shape otherwise.
he would be looking at that salmon also, or the bear. Oh, there's no bear now. The bear was taken by Evil Disc. He has, he's going full bear. He has 2 sets that both need one more bear. So that's a high commitment, but each set of 3 bears does get 10 points. So it's fairly decent scoring for a small mod work. 2 sets of 3 bears, I think, takes away from other things. That's tough to make work. You could be left with having those scores 0 points.
It is a good proportion. For just getting 3, you get a 3 point average plus 1. So to have 6 is fine as long as you fit it neatly into your map. And this map, you want them next to foxes, which they're also doing. What they're missing out on is the middle fox. They've touched 2 elk to it. And so
Is everybody just super focused right now, or is my volume down?
We can hear you fine, but
We're all muted.
They can't hear us. So
super focused.
all right.
Yeah, Cascadia's
My
committed
windows open,
to
so
3 hawks, basically
Yeah,
3
stuff
elk
on
in
the
the
sideline.
middle, missing out the chance for 3 pairs, unless if we're to put 2 hawks kind of diagonal on the fox, but that would split the elk. So there's no perfect answer there now that
Well,
they've committed to.
he could leave the elk because technically those elk, a single elk scores 2 points. So he does have 4 points. It's not the worst thing. At least it's not 0. So that fox, if he gets that other pair around it, would jump it up another 3 points.
Oh, was that a fox tile? I think it was a fox tile next to the fox, which is
I missed it.
interesting. Both of those foxes are going to have an elk around them, but the elk being split just loses points on its own. Usually in this game, you want one family and that's it. To have 2 different isolated clumps of elk, for instance, it's hurting so much compared to having one family of elk. And this elk card is weak anyway.
Yeah, you would want to keep those grouped. He plays the salmon.
It's just diminishing return to playing the 4th salmon. You'll get 1 for the keystone, 1 for the salmon, but it's also on the edge of the board where there are just no animals and there's no immediate plan to put animals there.
It's just one point there, really.
Yeah, for right now, if the game
For
ended,
right
that's
now.
just a 1 point salmon, which is maybe the
Well,
only way in the game to
2
score
points
1
because
point.
he'll get the key. He'll get the pine cone for that. So,
Right. Back to Amy now. She's planning on salmon in the middle, elk connected on the outside. She's got her hawks connected. Her bears can loop around and surround the salmon. She should want probably elk on the bottom to connect to the fox, but she would need 3 elk to do that, which could happen, but we're about halfway through, so the clock is winding down a bit short on that. She has the option of wiping the salmon right here.
looks like we have 6 people watching tonight, so that is great. Feel free to comment if we say something wrong or if there's something you see that we missed.
Or you could just praise us. It doesn't have to be negative.
I like constructive criticism. Bring it on.
All right, so back to Matt here. He's got his 3 salmon planned out. Yeah, on the right, he just has to choose between the bear connected to the fox, but then put 2 more elk, which could be fine. And everything else looks okay. As long as those 2 elk can loop around the outside, he's in great shape here.
Now the salmon. Now I know some groups of salmon can't be in groups of 3. So are they? in a triad. Is that the case with this scoring with salmon D? They
The
can't
rule
loop.
for a run of salmon, so Matt's going to place his third salmon and then build out part of the river there. The rule for any run of salmon is it can't touch more than two.
Okay.
So if you put them in a triangle in a clump, that is actually okay, so long as you don't add another salmon anywhere touching it, because that would be one of them touching three salmon. You could
Okay.
also put a salmon in a ring around a tile because each one in the ring is only touching two. But if you add one anywhere to that, it would break the rule. So any salmon card obeys touching no more than two salmon.
And would that negate the whole run of salmon if you did that?
I'm not sure about the penalty. I think maybe you would turn down something to make the rest legal, but I haven't had to think about that for a long time.
Okay.
I believe Cascadia took an elk to put
Yep.
up top there.
One Sword Mantis is sitting good. He's in first place in two different categories, I think. He's looking at Amy to see if how close she is and what she needs.
I find that on so many turns, it's hardly worth looking at anyone else's board as I have one, maybe two okay options. When I have those okay options, it's worth double checking other people to see where you can compete. But very often it's okay, this is the pair that makes sense, and so I'm just going to place it. And if you do that consistently, you can almost always score over 100.
So he does.
Way's placing his fourth salmon here.
Yeah. And he was thinking of placing it where he could line up two more hawks, getting quite a bit more scoring there. But he nixed that idea, and instead connected two habitats, trying to increase his. So that's 2 points for the habitat, and it does increase his lead on the forest. Oh, he is in second place right now. So he has 5 forests. Right now, Cascadia has 6 forests, so he's in the running to try to get those extra couple points.
One Sword Mantis also has not placed any elk yet, which in Cascadia, it is fine to not put an animal out there so long as you build out everything else well. It is just difficult from the beginning to commit to, I'm not going to play any elk today because usually there's a time when they will come out. And if you build in a way where you expect that variety, ex you can still satisfy your expectations. But if it happens you're halfway through the game and you haven't placed a certain type, it's easier to avoid placing any elk, which since they're the weakest card we're playing with today, that would be fine.
Now, that's the play I thought would be best. She did increase both her mountain and her forest and got that hawk lined up that she had placed. Amy.
Back to Evil Disc. Evil Disc is going to look to connect his elk by the end of the game.
I do like that placement he made there. I think his habitats are coming together really nice.
He's easily built out the best, the healthiest collection of habitats, and the focus from here on out should be specializing in 2 or 3 where he's the most competitive to score those bonus points.
He is in second place in yellow. It looks like he is also actually in first place for blue. 1, 2, 3, 5. He's tied for first, even though it's not showing. It's showing Cascadia in first. He is tied for first in blue. So those are ones that he could contest with. And mountains, he's very strong. So One Sword Mantis taking a look at the scoring just to be sure. Did you see where Evil Disc placed? I missed it.
I missed it.
Oh, he's gonna. Okay, so it looks like he did place, expanded his swamp and his didn't ignored the forest because that didn't connect. All right, so Cascadial.
Cascadia split up his elk, which is never going to connect.
Yep.
The fox token he put there is really not going to help him out at all.
No, that's a dead token.
The dead tile, I mean, in the middle.
Yeah. Now the foxes can score independently. It just they can't count each other, or does it negate them to have them next to each other?
There's no punishment. You just can't score one pair of foxes touching another pair. They can each score individually other pairs of animals.
So a fox there would score one pair he had. He could get some points there. Just not optimal.
Right. Yeah, where possible, you want to keep families together. You want to surround foxes, and only in real emergencies would you want to divide families or give up on a fox.
One sword mantis looking to put one on the end there to get those two different connecting birds again. And he is going to do that and connect a.
He's building wetland, placing the fox to score up top. Although it won't be maxed out, the other hawk can't be put next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also looking to extend his bear further south to touch the other fox. Back to Amy.
You can see Evil Disc is second place on a lot of different habitats there. Currently, Evil Disc Blue is on the tracker. Amy is leading on Swamp, even though it's not showing her on there. It's a tie for Swamp for 5. Okay. She placed in the. At this point, I think I would almost go with the forest, but she doesn't have a place to place that other hawk at the moment, so she would have to spend a pine cone to take one of the other animals, such as the salmon, to complete her set of 3 there. She could expand her wetland.
She still has 2 bears to chase. She still has a salmon to place. She'd love to connect the elk on the left while also connecting those mountains. That's her plan. She's given up totally on rivers.
Well, she wouldn't want to put her bear there because then she'd negate those salmon. She has to have at least salmon in that run, 3 salmon in order to score. And right now, that would be a loss of a lot of points right now if she doesn't put that salmon there on the right light green, dark green tile.
Right. Her next bear is going to have to go top left of the first one. She has no good place for the elk token. The fox up top left, given that she's already
She did do the
she's
elk.
planning on a fox in the top left. Evil Disc should want to connect his elk. He's maxed out his first fox. He's got his 3 salmon. He wants to keep building around those. It's going to be a fox in the bottom left at some point. And there's part of the connection he's looking for.
Yeah.
Also extending his prairie, which is good. You'll still needs 2 salmon, but they'll be on the edge of the board, which now that you've committed to 1, you're kind of in the worst of both worlds. You could get 2 more, and then as it were, you would only score 7 for now. If you could have enough time to surround them, you could get an okay score, but you have other things to work on at the same time.
It might be just best to abandon that salmon at this point. We have 8 turns left. So if you think about it, he's spending 2 of those turns on salmon for only a few points. And yeah, he did do the salmon. Yeah.
So getting 1 now is fine as long as you basically commit to the rest of it surrounding salmon to get the best value. Amy's one sword mantis keeps checking in on Amy.
Yep.
Competing maybe in the wetland.
Seeing where they are.
Evil Disc 820. Evil Disc 420 has 8 nature tokens, by the way. That's the most I've ever had in a solo game. So given his strong board in animals and the nature tokens, I'd certainly favor him at this point.
Coming into the tournament, the strongest rated player was, I believe it was one sword mantis. No one won. The leading up to this, we had 3 rounds, a Swiss style tournament. We scored like BGA does, where 6 points to the first player, 4 points to the second place, and 2 points to third place, 0 points for fourth. We did do it differently, where our mismatch games where we couldn't do a full 4 player, the higher player counts went to the lower ranked players. So that higher, the better players would at least score even if they got last place, which would be 2 points if in a 3 player game. And then the tiebreaker was your strength of schedule for the first tiebreaker. Second was your total points scored in Cascadia.
One Sword Mantis is continuing to build out hawks and plan for the next hawk, but in a very awkward way. The tile isn't even touching forest yet, but he'll want to connect it somehow. It might be better just to put the left pair of a hawk where you can fit it, and you need a forest bear next to that fox. It's got to be a forest bear anyway. You might as well put it when you can get it.
Yep, I'm surprised he didn't take that forest bear on the very left with the salmon there, even though that only expands him by 1. Just so
Yeah, the one he
had it
put is
available.
top left. It's going to be forest anyway, but it doesn't help in particular. It's not going to be an elk. He has space for that. It's not going to be a hawk. He could have put it next there. There's no reason to put that there when he could have just put the forest bear lower.
Unless he's thinking 2 levels ahead of us, we never know. We have some good Cascadia players here. No one has won all three of the Swiss tournaments, as I mentioned. Most everyone here won 2 of their games, and then getting second place on 1 or third place on 1 to get into this final game. I believe one
I
person
won
did
one.
get 2 seconds and a 1.
I think more than one person got 2 seconds and a one. I was
Okay.
first once, and then I lost by 1 point twice
Oh
to
man.
to finish tied for third. Amy, in our game, she had to pull one exact tile in the entire bag to basically end up beating me, and she did.
Oh geez.
All right, back to Matt here.
Excuse my screaming kids in the background, if you can hear that. We're not professional here. We don't have studios.
So Matt has a great board going here. You can tell we're most of the way through the game. He's maxed out one fox. The fox up top is already 3 points if he does nothing else. On the left side, he's planning on a fox touching 2 hawks and 2 salmon
he
for
did
just
set up
5 more points.
he did set up a deer on his with a field there, and then he placed a hawk that lined up with a couple there. So it's good placement.
And he wants to connect that too. He's shown a very strong game.
And he placed that on a keystone tile too. So now he has 9 pine cones, which beats your record at this
Beats
point.
my record. And that's in so I play a variant of the solo mode, which is easier than playing it against other people. I can't spite myself in solo. What's your personal
Cascadia could
best,
be
by
in
the
the
way?
running if they only had a field tile to connect there at the bottom right. They could jump up to the 3-way tie for 5 points there. Now, if there is a 3-way tie, though, at the end of the game, everyone scores 0. Am I correct?
If three-way tie, you score one each.
It is 1 each. Okay. All right.
Four-way presumably would be 0.
Okay.
And then if you have a first and 2 people tie for second, the second is 0. All right, back to One Sword Mantis.
I'm going to shrink the board here so we can see a little better. on the stream. Oh. Or the cards rather. Everyone kind of has an idea what they are, but I'll put it real small in the corner. All right, there we go. Now you can see the one sword mantis's board a little better. He has a play where he could overtake Amy for the swamp at this point.
He's
She's
loved the Hawks. I imagine he is looking to place more. I don't know about right now. Fox is really nowhere good. Salmon is a waste. Elk, maybe too little too late. Probably place an elk by the end. He might go the far right pairing.
Yeah, I do like that. The idea of putting a hawk in the top right corner to get 2 more matches there, or top left corner rather. All right, so he'll plan on putting a fox there and getting 2 pairs. Excellent move, I think.
Yeah, that's a good pairing. That is a good place for a
That's
fox.
a really good place. Builds his swamp also, or wetlands.
It's disguising the fact that he built out to a 4th salmon. He'll get an okay score for that, but it's tricky to get the best value. But a fox there is the best, absolute best connection that he can make with all the animals.
Yes, that jumps him up 5 points there with that one. 5 points for that one placement.
Although he could have tilted. Was that tile already there, or did he put that there right
He
now
just
where the
put the
fox is
tile
sitting?
there, yes.
He should have tilted so you could keep growing wetland. He's actually capped his wetlands on that side of the board.
Well, he's not looking to grow it at this point since there's mountains that are worth nothing and a worthless river. So if he does place a future wetland, he'd probably want to place it next to the field there. Oh no, that field doesn't grow, so wetlands are pretty much dead anyway, really.
Yeah, the benefit to tilting that one would be if you end the game with, I guess the mountains on the other side are already taken. So, yeah, if he's not going to build, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I guess if he wanted to put another pair on next to that fox, he could jump up to 7 points from the 5 points he's getting for it now. But he wouldn't score anything on habitat with that the way it is. So you do have a point there.
Yeah, it's getting a bit late for him.
I was not watching Amy. I didn't see what she placed. But now it's up to Evil Disc. Is he going to use any of those pine cones? I think he's got great selection, though. I don't think he's going to need to. He's going to keep the points. What does he really need to do here, do you think? Maybe get another elk there?
He certainly wants to connect all of his elk, which is very doable. Of all the tiles he could place, well, he doesn't have a good double color placement, so he might as well just accept one color and then build out something that makes sense and with a good animal. He doesn't have a good place for the hawk. If he places the fox, then the bear is a dead tile, probably. Doesn't want a salmon. Elk, I would just place the elk and then accept some river or some wetland growth. Toward the end of the game, if you need to sacrifice a tile for nothing and just growing out your terrain, it's fine because you end the game with 3 unused tiles anyway. So if you know which one is going to be unused, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Exactly, and he'd probably want to use the wetland so that he has so he expands in that corner. I guess. Where is he on river? It's so hard to tell.
He's more powerful in river. He has 5.
Okay, so that would be the choice there to extend his lead there because right now
He's tied for now.
has 5 also.
Mm-hmm. If you tie, you each get 2 points.
And right now he has only 4 wetland, and there's 2 players with 6 wetland, so that's not really a contender. Unless he wrapped around to his wetland on the far left, but that would take another wetland tile to connect that.
There's no good organic pair here, and if he ends up spending a token, you lose a point anyway. So
And he did
if you're going to
just
lose a
that. He
point,
tried to connect.
mhm,
He's trying to connect his wetlands up there. He thinks he must be pretty good on the river. I didn't see the. Let's see. What did he grab for his
it was an elk,
animal?
I think, on the right.
Okay, he did grab an
The
elk.
elk made the most sense. He's up to
Yes.
10 nature tokens, by the way.
Wow. Yep. He placed that elk on that field that was open. Okay,
All right,
Cascadio
Cascadio's
placed
quickly play.
yeah, grew
Yeah,
the
building out two
mountain and
colors.
the forest. Very excellent. There's that
Mhm.
elk placement, and he placed a
Yeah.
salmon, so he did get that triple. Cascadio did, so
Mhm.
that jumped him up several points there. Even though it's on the edge, not the most efficient as you mentioned. He knew what he was doing ahead of time. He's going to expand that elk. Well, he's
So here we
starting
go.
out with elk.
So
That's
we so one sword madness we knew needed a forest bear next to the fox, which he could have done a while ago, but now he's finally getting an elk is okay and the tile where it belongs. Some animals at the end, if they score you 1 point just being on their own, are handy to have around.
and that
Some
elk
cards give
scores
you,
2 points, so it's
yeah,
not
it is
terrible.
something. You can end up in a position where you've kind of maxed out animals or you're just out of choices and you really need one particular play. It's best to keep the variety of what you can place the widest. Back to Amy. She'll want to connect her elk here, and her mountain is almost connected for a big jump up.
Can say there's 10 foxes, but the most that's left are foxes. Amy is thinking she probably wants. Do you think it's time to abandon that bear, or well, there's 5 turns left. She needs another bear tile up the top there. Um, Nothing will really score a habitat for her. Well, I guess she would get a point because she doesn't. She only has single rivers. If she placed that bear keystone, but she doesn't really have a good place to place that other fox.
So this is an example of what I was talking about. She has places where she can play elk and bear reasonably, but there are no bear and elk. So having more animals that could be played, more homes for more animals, gives you an easier time when a situation like this occurs. Now she's going to have to miss out on something. She's going to have to lose a bit of momentum. She's used up a good number of salmon. Doesn't really have a good place for a fox. This is a tough pinch.
She does have two large sections of mountains that are not connected. She has 2 sections of 3. She places a tile. She could jump up to 7 mountain, tying
Yeah.
for first. And even though with the tie, each person would only score 1, taking away points from another person, you can think of as gaining points for yourself.
Yeah, she'll certainly want to do that before the end. I don't know what she wants to place here. There is no good natural pair. I don't know if spending a
Is
token
this,
is worth it either.
yeah, is this the time to spend that single token?
The she has prairie, she has a lone prairie tile which she could connect through a couple to her combination there, and then she'd be looking stronger. She'd be in first if she ever connected those prairies, and
Yes.
connecting the mountains could be strong as well.
I think I'd be taking as much time as she is on my turn also. This is a
That's
tough
no
choice
good.
right here.
Yeah, this happens inevitably, and all you can do is give yourself the most outs and have a nature token on standby when you get stuck.
She could take that mountain field on the far right and possibly connect those in the future. Um,
Yeah, the hawk wouldn't go anywhere right now is the problem.
She'd have to spend a nature token at that point. Really, the only thing she can place is a fox or a
There's
salmon, but she doesn't want to place that salmon because it's better to use that for the elk on the bottom left there. And that fox doesn't really score. Man, a refresh might be the way to go here. What would you do? Refresh? Oh, she's going to play the bear and
it's hard to say.
put the fox. She did place the fox after all. So hopefully she can get a pair to make that fox worth something.
All right. Evil Disc is left with the option of 3 hawks or a refresh. He doesn't have a hawk tile ready out there. He wants an elk on the right side. He wants a fox on the bottom left. Everything else is looking nice. Given that a hawk doesn't pair with any of the tiles that are out there, I think he's going to refresh here.
Yeah, I do
Otherwise,
like
he'd have to
I
spend
do
a nature
like that
token.
mountain field on the right. It just the hawk doesn't do any good. So you get a free refresh. I would do it. We'll see. He could use a salmon, although that's, as you said, that's not optimal. It would add 1 point, but it could possibly increase scoring potential because that yellow or the field and wetlands would both easily connect right on the top there. That tile is nice. So, and it looks like he is going to do that, but he did spend a cone and take a hawk.
That's a great way to do it. He connected his hawks and he built
Yeah.
out 2 terrains at the same time. So that's the ideal option if he's not going to take a refresh there. How is he competing in wetlands and prairies?
Who's that? Evil Disc.
Evil Disc.
It is, yeah, it's currently showing Amy, so we can't see his board right now,
But
unfortunately.
he built out nicely in 2 that could be competitive. So
Maybe I'll
that's the
see if I
Cascadia.
can't snag a screenshot next time his board comes up.
Cascadia has no hawks. I just realized that.
Oh yeah. Well, you can't do everything, so specialize. We'll see how that works out.
Evil Disc is about to connect 2 wetland groups to probably jump into first.
There, I screenshotted it. So, for a couple there. Yeah, so Evil Disc currently, he has 5 on yellow. He has 5 on mountain. And he has 5 on water. So he's right in contention for all of those, really. And he has 5 on wetlands too, with a potential to connect 2 with 1 tile, putting him
Now,
fully in the
he's
lead
looking
on
at that.
wetlands.
Sword Mantis has a place for the bear or the fox here. They're keep looking at everyone's terrain types, presumably. Toward the end of the game, you start counting animals to see how many are left for what you need to get. It's best to
Yes.
secure your needs before your wants. So if you, like in this game, an elk, you could always put out an elk for 2 points. You don't need any more elk, but you need a certain number of bears. All right, they're connecting hawks and they are building out forest even
And
more.
Amy still needs that bear down there. So So, but the hawk is a nice play. Connects 2 of them there.
Yeah, 5 turns left. She needs 2 of them to be bears. So you start to you can't be picky. Beggars can't be choosers. So in this case, I would take the bear. And if you need to spend a nature token, that's fine. But you got to start to dial in what you really need. She'd love another hawk in the top left to touch her fox for 2 more points, but she has other priorities.
And it would line up with 2 hawks also. So that would
Mm-hmm.
be quite a few points there. I think that is something that has to be done in the next 4 turns.
Yeah, the bear's the most important for now. She would love a hawk up there. She needs to connect her elk as well. So if we plan out, she needs 2 bears. She needs an elk there for quite a big point jump. That's 3 of her remaining 4 or 5 turns. And then she'd love a hawk up top. She's done nicely surrounding her salmon. So in this case, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points for 3 salmon, which is a good collection.
Appreciate the comments. I was just looking at them. Drakmore18 and Kangle Low Dog have commented. Drakmore says, appreciate the stream. Thank you. It's a privilege to do this. It's a lot of fun. Then he says, 9 nature tokens is crazy. That is crazy. And
He was up to 10.
He was at 10 for a while. And then he also mentioned that he could potentially connect his river tiles above here. So I missed when who he was talking about at that point. But I'll try to monitor the chat a little better.
All right, we're back to Evil Disc.
Carl 256 is cheering for Amy, so we're hoping she can pull off some miracles here and catch up. You never know. Drakmore18 is says 1 sword mantis.
The potential to connect rivers for 1 sword mantis. Is that what he meant?
That I believe so.
Rivers are the lowest for anybody, it looks like, except whatever person we're missing. I don't know who that would be.
That
Amy,
would be, at this point, Amy, who has very few rivers also. So Evil Disc has the rivers in hand right now.
All right, Evil Disc has a place for the fox right now. They don't want the salmon. They have no place for the elk. And they don't have a hawk ready. So we're looking at fox or elk. Oh, the elk with the river mountain down below just to build out 2 terrain tiles could absolutely be what you put, even if nothing else ends up going there. How's he competing in mountain? So his Evil Disc's mountains are not represented.
Yeah, he has 5 mountains. So he I don't know if at this point that he should even try for mountains since there's 2 people at 7.
He is at 5 rivers, and if he at least builds to that, he stays ahead in rivers, although he's not being pushed, as it were.
I do like the river mountain.
He's currently tied for rivers.
He is, okay.
So he would take the lead in rivers and get a point for just a mountain.
I do like the mountain river tile right there, easily to place. I mean, it really doesn't make sense for the hawk to go there or a bear, but you can put a tile there not expecting to put an animal on it as long as you've got a plan, because that elk has a good place to go.
Yeah, he has 4 animals left to put, including right now. He wants 1 elk, he wants a fox on the left, and then other things he can just build out. You could add an elk at any time. A hawk can go a lot of places. He wants a hawk on the top right to connect to his other fox. That would be another good cache of points.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that would line up really nice there with 2 other hawks up on the. If he has one that will go on yellow. But I think he sees the scoring potential of that fox right now, so he's thinking of taking that tile. I mean, he has 9 cones. He could get that fox placed, but the elk is also nice there too. Getting 4 elk
He is
at this point.
matching.
Elk are worth 3 points per placement. After you get your third one, then it's goes up to 4 points per placement at the last couple on the 7 and 8.
So he did what I think was maybe a bit rash. He felt he needed a hawk in the top right now, and it did not build any habitats out. He really wants the hawk up there to help score the fox, but you're giving up points elsewhere. He just didn't want to give up the potential, fearing that maybe he couldn't place anything, which I think there were more options to come. I don't think he needed to panic that early. I think it did come with a fox, if I remember.
So which tile did he place? I didn't catch that.
He put he put a hawk tile up top. It didn't match prairie, which is where it was sitting, but he wanted a hawk space up there, so the next time he has a chance to put a hawk, he can. But it didn't
Cascadia
build out the colors at all.
Cascadia looks like he grew his prairie, if I caught that correct. I didn't see the animal.
Cascadia also finished all 6 bears that they were chasing.
Nice.
Speaking of bears,
That's what the bear
that's where
one
Mantis
one sword
finishes their
needed.
bears, builds out.
So that placement could only use a salmon at this point.
Yeah, they're thinking they're either having to contain the mountain, which the mountain's not going to score, so there's no
No.
point thinking about that.
No.
If it goes there, it's just to connect rivers,
Yep, he's going to connect that Spar River there.
and
Yep.
it'd be a piddly salmon, but
Mm-hmm.
it would score something.
Yep. There's not enough turns really to build up to get another set of 3 bears.
They're getting a nature token now, so if they swapped out for something, they could have a different tile if they wanted. It doesn't really matter. Putting it there is as much sense as anything.
Yeah, but he
What they
definitely
want.
wants to finish that bear. That's 10 points right there.
What they want is for this to be a hawk somewhere, because it would just be a free home for it, but they can't find a place to build out the river or mountain and help in a good way.
He's doing a quick count there. Yeah, Evil Disc just threw a tile away up there. I don't know.
We'll see how it plays.
You know.
Yeah, toward the end, especially in the last 5 rounds, it's okay to have one meaningless tile that was just for colors. You don't have to have everything mean something until the very end. It just makes it a little less likely that you'll be stuck. But he has 9 tokens, so there's no risk of getting stuck.
Mm-hmm. He is counting right now to see where it is, since it's not showing it correctly. Right now it's showing Amy's.
All right, now we're back to
Connection.
Amy.
Okay, so now it's showing Evil Discs tiles.
Oh, we're back to Amy.
Yep.
And she doesn't need salmon, so we should see a wipe here.
Yeah, because the hawk isn't going to help. She has no place for that hawk. Or the salmon. She should take the free wipe.
Sometimes when you want one of a set of 3, not only do you get what you want, but the person after you ends up with 2 of a particular type. And then if they don't want that, that's a way to really cut their chances of getting something nice in half.
That's
So
a good.
there's
That's a good thought.
There's also a defensive tact when it comes to refresh.
Amy currently has
Yeah,
6 on Forest, so I don't think she's in contention for a placement on that. She lost her lead pretty good on the wetlands. She only has 5 connected. Same with the fields, only 5. So I don't think she's in contention for any first place. Maybe on mountain.
With the
So
bear
it's
sitting up there, she needs another one, and that is, yeah, she's committing to a salmon. So that's a two
yep,
point salmon for now. If she gets another bear to it, it could be a 3 point salmon.
yep.
But she will still need a bear. If she had wiped that, she would have been able to put a bear river tile, which would have been on the right place, and then maybe get something better than a salmon.
I'm really surprised she didn't go for the wipe there.
Yeah, the salmon is the weakest potential of anything by far by now, so wiping it could only be a better choice. Yeah, up top, he must have felt the need to have some hawk tile waiting, and I think there were two out there at the time, so it's not like they were going to really disappear, and now there are still two out there now. So he just gave up points, really wanting the hawk.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a place for the fox, and he now has a place for the hawk, so he's
Yep.
going to connect his wetlands, which we knew he wanted.
Yep. Putting him easily in first place for wetlands at the moment. He has 8 wetlands, even though it's not showing him on the board right now. Oh, it is showing him on the board. Maybe. Well, it shows blue with 8, so maybe.
Eight's a lot for a person to have. I'm
Yeah.
going to guess it's him. All right, Cascadia. He's finished 6 bears.
Yes, because I believe Amy only had 5 wetlands, so she doesn't even have the second place right now.
So the choices are a little slim here. Salmon is no good. There's no place for a fox already. They are going to connect a fox to a couple salmon, or did they just place the elk on the
They
left?
placed the elk right on the tile they placed.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't great for the terrain, but the elk was the best
Yep.
animal.
He is trying to expand his forest there. He does put him in first place. There's a contention between him and One Sword Mantis. Now One Sword is going to think, does he want to keep fighting that in the last 3 turns for that forest first place? Now he could do a wipe here.
Yeah, this should be a quick wipe because even though he has a place for a salmon, he's just not scoring more than 1 point for it.
Mm-hmm.
The fox, he does have a place for on the left. The furthest left tile is only going to be for an elk, so that's a reason to not put a fox in the middle. But the fox on its own scores 3 points for touching the hawks.
Yes.
But thinking back to the beginning of the game, you can see how the foxes played out. So Cascadia ended up, I'm sorry, One Sword Madness ended up with, okay, 5 points for one fox, 5 points for another, 5 points for another. That's solid, but if you start with a 7 point fox with 3 pairs, then you start to work on those 5 points. It takes no extra tokens. You just have to plan accordingly from the beginning.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm surprised they still haven't wiped the salmon. It's not worth that much.
Well, he might be going for that fox, like you said, with the expanding his
There you
yellow.
go.
He did, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they have 3 more turns left. They can afford foxes, hawks, those elk, but you don't want bears. You don't want salmon, realistically. Yeah, the bear is no good, so it's going to be a fox.
Yep.
And another bear token being blue doesn't matter, so you might as well take this one.
Yep. He's going to
And
connect
he's
that river there.
connecting.
Yep. Could have done that or connected right there. Yep, that's his other option to connect his yellows together. He does have a stray yellow.
At this point, if you're in equal contention for both, you can
Yep.
count the tiles remaining of each color. There are 29 of each color in the game.
Okay.
So you could look around, even when tokens are sitting on the board, you could see, okay, there are more yellows left for me to get than blues. And
Now
then you go with,
he's considering a hawk placement now too, and just forgetting scoring either one of them. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
interesting. Well, it's going to be a fox for now. And then he's connecting. He's connecting. And 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 he's c given that there are two hawk tiles out there, I wouldn't be in a rush to place. This is what Evil Disc did. They thought ahead, like, what if I don't get the hawk placement? But there are multiple options that could happen. I would err on get the colors now, and then I think you're still safe to get what you need later.
I agree. This would put him in first place. Right now, he doesn't have first place in anything. He's strong in four different habitats, three in contention for first place. So it might be worth it to really push here. I don't
He
know. I don't
cannot
know about the
decide.
rivers. I do like the field placement where he's currently has it right now. Um, it doesn't really. It won't score any animals though. Nothing makes sense there. So, there you go. Maybe a potential to connect another river and another field there at that
That at
point.
this point, with like 3 turns left, I would say that's a bit much.
Yep.
If you build out potential connections early or mid game, that is fine. In the late game, you need to start finishing. You need to close those doors that you've opened. You can't keep building out hope. I would connect one thing right now, either river or prairie, if they're
Yeah.
going back
Yep.
again. I would go with river, if only for the reason that you're not scoring that river tile down there right
Hmm.
now. And if you connect it, you do
Well, it was the same with the
contain it as a
prairie.
part
He
of your
had an
content.
unscored prairie tile
Oh, I got
that he
you.
connected to.
The,
So he probably went for that because the river placement would have tied him for river, but this one does put him clearly in the lead for field. So
you could also think that there are 3 river tiles showing, and the odds of getting one next time are quite high.
good. Yeah, that's a good thought too. I don't know. I think Amy might. If I'm not, unless I'm seeing something, I think she might be in third or last place here at this point.
Yeah, that tile
Things.
down there has no productive animal on it. I didn't see what animal she put up top, but the tile isn't getting her anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Her layout just isn't working out for her to push for a lot of bonus points at the end game. So
All right, so Matt did put the hawk where he wanted, even though I think he pulled the trigger a bit early. He has a good space for a fox, bottom left. You still want to connect the elk, but can't do it now, so you might as well wait. So 2 turns left, he'll want a fox and an elk.
he's getting that elk potential,
And
and
he's
he
connecting.
adds to his field there
Mhm.
because he knows it's a race now for that field with one sword mantis, and now they're tied on field.
Cascadia has 3 separate groups of elk, which is, for a card that's already the weakest, that is particularly low scoring.
I think the one stray elk at the bottom he just used mostly for that fox scoring there, but the one on the top left, that's a that's a tough placement there.
He's only scoring 8 points for those 4 elk. So 2 per token is a bad value.
Yep.
It's too late for him to start chasing hawks because he has none. He would need at least 2
Yep.
for them to be worth anything. He's full of bears, and he'll need to spend a nature token to take the fox to put anywhere that makes sense.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
with
make
2 turns
sense for
left.
him to take any hawks at this point. There would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
nowhere to
with
way to score any points at the moment. Well, if he placed a hawk on the river there. Oh, he does take a hawk. Okay.
2 turns. With
Yeah.
2 turns left, he
Yeah.
is committing to hawk hawk, and that is very dangerous.
Two hawks. Hawk does not score any points. You need three at
It's
least.
if they're connected, that's fine. One makes the other one connected. As long as they're facing each other,
Oh,
it's
it's
okay. But a
each
single hawk
hawk.
is nothing.
I got it. Okay.
A single hawk is nothing. So right now that is a 0-point hawk unless he pulls another hawk.
Okay, I was thinking it was the scoring chart was how many pairs you have. It's for each hawk. Okay, that
Right.
is a line of sight. Okay.
Right. All right. On Sword Mantis, it's building out Prairie. And if that's the elk they just put on the left, it's not touching any other elk. It is giving him extra points for another pair touching the fox, which could help pick up the slack.
Yep, that's 2 points for the single elk, and then 2 points for the fox scoring, that additional. So that's a 4-point elk placement. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Or the end of the game, when you start to reap the rewards of building up animals or putting them in key positions, 4 is nice to see. If you end with a 2, it needs to be that was your only option, and you're happy to get anything.
Yeah. Even placing that elk at the top, now that he's thinking about, is only 2 points there, because it's 2 points per additional elk until you get to your third elk. So that was the optimal placement, where he did end up putting it down on the left side there. Back to Amy.
All right, 2 turns left for her. She did finish her bears.
She could take, I think the easy answer here would be to take that mountain top keystone and place an elk to connect the two. So she would go up 5 elk. I think that.
He does want the elk anyway, right?
Yeah. I think that would be the play. Unless you see something else that would be better.
Yeah, the elk is great. She needs it anyway. You might as well with 2 turns left. Yeah, when you are in dire straits, you need to get what you need now, and then if you get something nice as your last pull, that's fine. But don't put yourself where you have to get a particular animal. Try to avoid that.
She could.
How is she looking at mountains?
Possibly take the and expand her wetland with the fox next to those 2 salmon, and then, but I think that the elk would be the more optimal.
She does have 7 mountains, by the way, and now she has 8, tying her for the lead.
Yep. So that was really the best play.
Sorry, who is starting player?
I am. This is the last round now.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is everyone has 1 round left.
Yep. Who said I am? Who is the starting player? Because
Evil Disc, right?
That is one
We're
problem
right now in
with
the
this
last round.
app, is that it doesn't indicate the starting player, and we really want Direwolf to please have a starting player mark, a dot next to them, and don't let
And the
us have
round
the
would
same
help.
color for 2 different players. That doesn't make sense either.
And the round count would help too.
Yes.
So with 1 choice left, what does he need? A fox is 3 points. Doesn't want a bear. There's no hawk tile out there already. Since the fox can just be placed, he would look at what terrains he can compete in here. And he does have 8 wetlands, which is 1 behind Amy, I'm guessing. 8, So a fox with that wetland would at least tie him for the lead there. The river, he's not in contention. He's currently 2nd in rivers, but adding 1 more doesn't particularly help him. Jumping up to tie the wetland with the fox, I think, is the play.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see anything that would be better than that.
So looking overall at his board, he's done the best job overall here. He has a completed fox in the middle, 5-point fox up top, 5-point fox bottom left, 3 bears, nicely surrounded salmon, connected hawks all over the place. This is just a beautiful board, and he's competing in at least 2 terrains, so he's going to have a very nice score. The 8 nature tokens don't hurt.
Not at all. 8 points? That's the size of another terrain. He's got a whole other terrain, pretty much, you could say.
He should be breaking 110 pretty easily in this game.
That, in order to win this in a competitive circuit, you really need to shoot for that 110 plus, at least breaking 100 if you're gonna be able to compete in your practice games.
Depending on the animals, you can have far weaker or far stronger combinations, but pretty much with anything, most of the time you should be breaking 100.
That's
I
why
think
I
in
don't
100,
care for total score as a tiebreaker as much,
yeah,
because it does vary. Even the weakest animals, though, you should be scoring 90 points at this game. But with a
I
strong
think,
board, I've seen scores as high as 120
yeah.
or more.
Evil Disc did do what I suggested, so he got a 3-point Fox and then built out Wetlands to tie for the lead. So that's a very strong finish
Yep.
there.
I'm thinking Evil Disc does have this one, but it's gonna be close because Cascadial and One Sword Mantis, their boards look pretty good. I think One Sword Mantis does have some inefficiency with their layout of their terrain that might cost them a few points and cost them the win in the end.
Yeah. Cascadial has separated elk. They have a kind of a wasted fox. You just see efficiency overall with Evil Disc, which is essential to competing.
I
The
think
last players have
with
the benefit of comparing everyone's terrains and knowing for certain that they can, score this point or they can tie someone else for a bonus and take a point away from them.
even though this is a simple game with 20 rounds and that's it, this is famously one of the longest games that have ever been played at WSBG because of the open information. A person can sit there and math everything out, every little thing, and they can know if they're going to win or not. But it takes time on your turn, so that's why this game can go long. And our stream right now is sitting at, well, we started at 6, so this is a 2-hour game now. So
For a competitive finals, I think 2 is okay. 30 minutes per player. That's probably what the box says, something around there. It might even say way shorter.
yep, playing against the AI, I have finished a game in 10-20 minutes before.
Well, the box says 30 to 45 minutes, so we've stretched that by a bit.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Does it say 30-45 minutes per player or for the game? For the entire
There's no
game?
way it's 45 minutes per player. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
So they intended it. Maybe that's a beginner game where you don't think as much, but you
Yep.
could certainly sit and think for quite a while. The first year at WSBG, the finals were sadly 3 hours,
Yeah,
and
I
they really
remember. It was
cracked
very
down after
long.
that. They're not going to let that slide anymore. The One Sword Mantis is really eyeing what's left here. What do they have? No more bears. Salmon is really nothing. Where could a fox go? Oh, there's no good existing place for a fox, so they're trying to make the best of a bad finish here. If nothing else, at a glance, at the end of a game, you can often see that the winner is just going to have groups of colors connected. They're going to have fewer patches on their own. And if you see a jagged board like what One Sword Mantis ended up with here, you just have 2 different prairies, a lot of separated mountains. It's just hard to get those points back.
Yeah, I think a few tiles turned would have increased. Like he's missing 3 points on field, which is quite a bit to have that big of section separated. 3 points can be a big difference in this. Or well, because not only is it the 3 points for each of those 3 tiles, that would have given him could have given him. Well, he does have first place. He does have 8 in yellow right now, but he could have had. Let's see, does Anyone contending for that that's not on the board? No, yeah. So he does have the yellow first place, but that could have been quite a few more points. All right, so just throwing away a
It's a
bear.
nothing bear.
Well, no, it does score his fox and
That's
with
true, I
another
can't.
pair. So he does score it there. So that is something.
That's a
That's
bu-
3 points.
It's just a bummer to see elk separated, bear separated.
Yeah. Last turn of the game.
Yeah, in each collection of animals at the start of a game, you want to see, okay, what is the best sense to make of this? How do they fit together? The fox is often the linchpin as you're surrounding it. Hoxie is the rare example of you just put it in the wheel pattern we've all come to know and hate because it's just you grab a hawk, you put it out there.
It's a fight for those hawks.
In this one, the fox is particularly strong as it just leaves gaps for pairs around it, and then you build those pairs. I want to see how much people score from foxes in this game.
I don't think Lady Amy has a way to get first place in any terrain at this point. So she could tie, if I'm looking correctly at the mountains. She has 2. She has 8 in mountain, so she is tied for mountain. She could place a mountain and that would be 2 extra points besides the mountain, taking
I
away
think she
that
has
lead from
6.
Cascadia. Oh, am I
Looking at
looking
her
at
board, she has 6 mountains
I'm
on
counting
the
8
top
on
left.
Amy. Is there 2 not connected for mountains for Amy? I think she has 8.
Her board is showing on the top left. I only say 6.
All
She's
right,
going to
so
build
she
out
plays a
wetland and a
fox.
fox throw in there
Yep,
for a
couple
few
points.
points.
All right.
I'd
Good
be
game, y'all.
surprised if anyone is within maybe
GG.
5 points of Evil Disc, and maybe no one else will break 110, but let's see how this shakes out.
The drama. Oh, okay. One sword
And here
broke
come the
100.
here come the pine
Everyone's at
cones.
100.
They are close.
Oh,
He didn't break 110, but he
yep,
did take it in the end. One
he
Sword Madness did
did.
come close.
Excellent game. Good job, Evil Disc. We'll
Good game,
get them
everybody.
back on.
If you could leave the board there, One Sword Madness, we could go over the stats.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good job.
Good game, everybody.
I went ahead and unmuted myself in the Discord so we can interact with the
Yeah, me
players a
too.
little bit to see what they felt about the game here. So congratulations, Evil Disc. I'm sure you
Thank
guys
you.
will be excited to hear our commentary. There was most of the heavy lifting was done by RJ, so appreciate him joining us. But
Thank
how
you.
did you guys feel about the game overall? It was really close, very high scoring in the end. We saw a few unlucky breaks. Places where we felt maybe someone accidentally slipped and misplaced a tile or misrotated it. Do you feel that the interface was gave you some trouble that way?
So you're breaking up there.
Oh, sorry. It could be because I have 2 microphone sources. So just give us a idea of how you think the game went.
Oh, I thought it went great.
Some things you noticed?
I was really hoping for some prairie at the end there, and didn't get it. But I had to use some nature tokens to finish out the animal setup that I was going for. And that was a little unfortunate, but it was best for points, so I just did it.
Evil Disc, with a
And
few
taking
turns
that
left, you
fox
placed.
on the last turn was I could have gone fishing for an elk, which would have been worth more, but there were only 3 left in the bag, so I wasn't confident that I'd be able to pull one.
Evil Disc, can you
Yeah,
hear
I
me?
was kind of hoping that you would do that. You had a lot of nature tokens, which is very unfortunate. I don't know
Yeah,
why,
I
but
figured.
every time it's whenever it's your turn, the nature token just magically shows up that tile.
Yeah, yeah,
That's one sword
I'll
mantis
take it
there
every
talking.
time.
Yep. All right. Well, again, congratulations to the winner. It was a close game, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys again when we do one of these Cascadia tournaments. It was well fought throughout the whole tournament. You guys, I think no one had all 3 wins, so there wasn't a full dominator. So we'll look forward to the next one. You guys have a good evening.
Right on. Thanks for running it.
You bet.
You
Yeah.
too.
We'll see you next time.
Great game.
Good night.
Great
Nice.
Good
game.
job, Evil.
So, any closing comments as we go back to our? See, I'll put us back on our screen with just our faces as you watch this game. I guess for me, I thought Lady Amy was closer than I thought. She was within 8 points of the leader. So those few little things that we noticed could have put her in contention at the end. This game is the one little mistake can just put you behind.
Yeah, I was surprised it was as close as we saw. I think Evil Disc panicked a bit with the blue and white tile in the corner when they didn't need to, thinking that they had to get it or they would miss out. But I think it cost them more than it got them in the end. They had a great setup. Otherwise, we saw great use of foxes at intersections. We saw them tick the boxes for these particular animals. You wanted 3 salmon surrounded, which they had most of that. The elk, since it's such a poor investment, you want to do just as much as you need without maybe going overboard. They had 3 bears, which is great. They had a few connected hawks, but the foxes were really key. You had complete foxes in the middle, and then a 5-pointer up top, and over here was another 3. So it was well played overall. And the nature tokens, which you collect them when they come, it was just a tidal wave in the end for him. So it was a good tight game. I was happy to be here for it.
All right. Well, I sure appreciate you joining with this commentary, and we invite other Board Game Fight Club members to join us in commentary in the future. And hopefully you come back. But actually, I hope next time you're playing in the tournament.
Me
Next time,
too.
yeah, that'd be great. So I enjoy playing in the tournament myself, but I enjoy watching and learning from other people, and that's why we do these strategy guides. Hopefully, you learn from something. This will later be posted on my channel, Board Game to Tears. So we hope you are watching, like and subscribe to that. And again, if you're interested in joining Board Gaming Fight Club, just send me an email at boardgametotears, just how it sounds with a BOARD. I guess there's other ways to spell that. GAMETOTEARS at gmail.com, and we can get you in so you can compete in these monthly tournaments. All right. Good day, everyone. We'll see you later.
See ya.